Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome to the show, everybody. And I want to thank everybody for hanging around with me today. My name is, of course, Rochelle, and she's Kevin McDonald. And no, that's not right. That's not right. And Rochelle, how are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm very excited for this interview that we have today with Mary-Beth Newell because I think a lot of people have questions about how to kind of keep yourself living longer, healthier, happier, almost feel like maybe aging backwards or not aging at all. So thank you for being here with us, Mary-Beth, and how are you today?
Oh, I'm great. Great to be here.
Well, and I'm glad you're here, Rochelle, because you're going to talk about things about that women love to talk about, and men don't really. Well, that's not true. Some of us don't, some of us do. But I'm here to learn. So the two of you are going to educate me. And so Mary-Beth is a nurse. She's also got a doctorate, and she's also written a book. It's called Anti-Aging and Secrets of Healthy Living to Stop the Clock. And and so, Mary-Beth, it's great to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, and you did give me a few more credentials than I have. I have a master's degree. I don't have a doctorate, but yes.
Well, you're not, the day is young. Who knows what's going to happen by the end of the day?
Thank you.
And but your book is done very, very well, and it's a bestseller, and it has lots of 5-star reviews on Amazon and stuff. So congratulations to that. What made you, and I know the answer to this, but a good lawyer always asks questions that he already knows the answer to. So what decided you to write this book?
Well, being a nurse, a registered nurse, I've always been interested in the body and health. And so I guess it was like a hobby of mine that I just gathered all this knowledge. And I would say 15 or 20 years ago, when my colleagues would find out how old I was, they'd look at me and say, "What are you doing?" And I wanted to know what it was that I was doing. And when I would tell them, because I didn't think I had an unusual cadre of knowledge, I thought everybody knew the same things that I did. And I learned very quickly that a lot of people didn't have the same knowledge base. And repeatedly, I heard, "You should write a book. You should write a book," because the things that I talk about are holistic, natural, they're accessible to the average woman that's out there, and they're sustainable. So it took me about 15 years, but after 15 years, I finally wrote it, and it seems like people really enjoy it. One of the things that I try to do in the book is, well, to make it fun and kind of light with different topics, like you want to exfoliate, be like a snake and exfoliate, fun things like that. But I think the biggest thing I wanted to give people is how can you incorporate these practices into a busy lifestyle? Because most people know what they should be doing, but they can't figure out how to get it into their life, how to do it.
Hmm.
Rochelle?
And so based off of that, when you well, let me back up a little bit. So
Mhm.
before learning all those things about nursing, what got you into wanting to do the nursing? Because that led into the book, which led into everything else that you did. So what kind of started that? Was there something that was like, because it's all helping people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have to say, it probably started when I was like 5 or 6 or 7 because I had older sisters. They were 7 and 9 years older than me. And I think this is where I started getting interested in beauty and skincare and different things like that, because I watch them get ready for their dates and they just like completely turn into these gorgeous creatures. And so what are they doing? But then, so that sort of led into the beauty aspect of it. But then after that, it was, I guess, just always being interested in how the body works, what makes it tick, what makes it not tick. One of the things when I became a nurse, I specialized in mental health nursing for a while because I wanted to try to understand what motivated people or how they could become so sick. But that was just one aspect. So that's more the mind, but then just learning about different aspects of the body. There's so many things you can do to literally release chemicals in you to feel good and, happy and make your body much, much healthier and prevent disease. That I guess it, like I said, it was sort of like a hobby. The more I learned, the more I wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And as Kevin mentioned, I even went on to get a graduate degree in science, sort of like a science nerd.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask is that how you were able to get the holistic approach from it rather than just the science?
I think it's just my approach that I would rather do something naturally than rely on, now I know people use fillers or Botox. For me, if there's something I can do without having to go the unnatural route, I would rather do that. I always say, if it's good exercise, I'm going to do it. I cut my own grass, I clean my own house. I do things more naturally. All my practitioners, like the beauty shop or the doctors, I try to get them within a mile of my house so I can walk there and walk back. So, yeah.
Well,
That's
and
awesome.
first of all, I'd like to thank you for being a nurse because you guys see some stuff that I wouldn't ever want to be around, because the human body is unique in that, and I know that you probably know this, but some of the weirdest things come out of a human body that I've ever seen, that I have. So I admire you for, so you're obviously okay with blood and with pee and poop and all those wonderful things that you have to deal with as a nurse. But I want to thank you because I've had several surgeries, and you guys, nurses are the most wonderful people in the world because they make you feel like you don't need to be embarrassed about bodily functions.
No, not at all.
Yeah. What is one of your favorite things you learned through nursing?
Oh, through the nursing. I think, again, learning about the chemicals that you can release in your own brain, the endorphins, the feel good hormones, and through exercise. And I think that probably spurred me to learn more because I have to exercise. Otherwise I get crabby. Nobody wants to be around me when I'm crabby. My children would say, "Mom, I think you need to go for a walk," when I was getting stressed. But like, just even, everyone knows about the 10,000 steps. And I bought into that for a really, really long time until I learned a little bit more about it, which it was a marketing campaign for a pedometer company. There was no science behind it at all. They just wanted to market their pedometers. Now, believe me, before we had Fitbits, I wore my little pedometer to get my steps in. But since then, they have done research. And if you get about 2,700 steps, for most people, that'd be like a mile, maybe a little more than a mile, depending on your stride. Your risk of dying early goes down 8%. And your risk of cardiovascular events, the things you don't want, like a heart attack and stroke, it goes down by 11%. But if you get 9,000 steps, your risk of dying early goes down 60%. So that's like maybe about 4 miles a day. And you don't have to do it all at once. It's just moving your body. And your risk of those cardiovascular events is slashed in half. So
Kevin, you need to start walking all morning, every morning. I'm going to call you. I'm going to track you. I'm going to make you do it.
Unless if you walk 10,000 steps and you die of a cardiac arrest. That's,
That is possible, I suppose.
Well, the interesting thing, Mary-Beth, is that Rochelle came here and to Seattle a couple of weeks back. And she and her family were here, and they walked 14 miles. They were in the hilly part of town, and they still walked a bunch. And they got me because I spent time with them on a couple of days, and they got me walking more. In fact, I even walked through South Center Mall, or excuse me, Bellevue Square, which is one of the bigger malls in the country. And it's like but I felt, the better by doing that. It's just a matter of getting out and doing it. So I haven't told Michelle this, but I even started walking yesterday, and I'm not doing 10,000 steps. I'm
That's
doing
okay.
10, and maybe I'll do 11 tomorrow and 12 and stuff. But, but it is important. You're right.
Oh, and it's a journey. No one starts out, if you start out walking 10,000 steps, you're going to be really tired after a couple days if you're not used to it. So it's just a process. Now, I talked about how I like to try to tell people how they can work things in. So a couple of the things that I do with trying to get my steps in is if it's at the end of the night and, if I want to look at my Facebook or get caught up, instead of sitting on the couch, I walk around the house.
Your mom?
What is she doing? She's looking at her phone, walking around. So that's one thing I do at the end of the day. If I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to get some more steps in, versus just sitting on the couch and looking at your Facebook or social media.
So I got to ask you, because here half the year it's a little bit chilly to go out and start walking 3 or 4 miles. Can you get the same thing from like an interior home device that you can use, either
Like a treadmill?
a treadmill, something like that?
Or some people have the like standing desks, and it's like a real slow treadmill when they're working. They're walking and they're getting their steps. Yes, it's the same effect. I mean, I like being out. I live in Florida, so our weather is very nice almost the year round. I like getting out in the fresh air, but certainly it's any kind of movement. I mean, you'd be surprised. I told you I cut my grass, I clean my house. And sometimes when I'm cleaning my house, just going all over the place, cleaning the bathrooms and the bedroom and doing all the laundry. And you end up, it's like, okay, I just did 3 miles over 4 hours of cleaning the house. And as you have a tracker, that it's like, oh, good, I have most of my steps in already.
Yes.
I didn't realize you're supposed to clean your house.
Hey, Kevin, I was actually surprised it wasn't worse. I was surprised. I can say that. I was prepared for anything. And you surprised me, Kevin, because I thought you were going to be a hoarder, but you just have the bare minimum. It's like the exact opposite. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, he likes the walls. He likes to see the floor. So that's good.
I have got no need to she thought I was a hoarder. Come on, really?
It's my human brain. I just am not even going to deny it. It was something I had to think about. I grew up in hoarder homes, and I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I getting myself into? Let's be prepared here. So thank you for not providing that atmosphere, and I love you so much. And I would love to take this quick break early because I would love to get the perspective from Mary on what she saw that was some of people's biggest health concerns when you were a nurse. Can we do that?
We can shortly do that. Mary-Beth Newell, she's got the book out, Anti-Aging and Secrets of Healthy Living to Stop the Clock. Not your clock, but the clock. We'll be right back. At 67 years young, I never thought I'd feel this good again. But thanks to Purium's Ultimate Transformation Lifestyle, to date, I've lost 37 pounds and gained energy, confidence, and a whole new outlook on life. This isn't a diet. Purium is a complete lifestyle change, giving me all the natural, organic, nutrition-packed superfoods that fuel my body, crush my cravings, and help me burn fat naturally without starving myself. No gimmicks, no guesswork, just a simple, proven system that works. Superfood shakes, detox support, and real results. If I can do this at 67, imagine what you can do. It's your time to feel better, look better, and live better with Purium. Let's do it now, and let's do it together. Go to www.positivetalkradio.net and click on the Transform You to get started. That's positivetalkradio.net. Transform You. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, Rochelle, and our guest is Mary-Beth Newell. And by the way, I lied in that commercial. I am so sorry. But I lied. I haven't lost 37 pounds. I've lost a little over 40 now.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Congratulations for you.
I cut my leg off. But other than that, I'm perfect.
No, it's because of the walking.
Yeah, well, it's because of walking, Purium, and a couple other things. But you know, the thing is, when you get to be a little older, it makes it really, really hard to walk and to get out, and especially if you've had surgeries. I've had several surgeries, including both hips replaced, because I was a very, very, very bad when I was young, and stuff. So, and back surgery and all that kind of stuff. But but to answer, Rochelle, state your question again. That's a really cool question.
Yeah, what is it? Well, I've got so many questions in my head, but we'll stick with the one I asked, and that is, what is that you see was one of the biggest health or some of the biggest health issues that you saw as a nurse with just humans in general?
Well, one of the things that really bothered me is that we would treat people in the hospital and we would treat whatever their ailment was. But I like the holistic aspect. So to me, it's like we patched them up and sent them home.
Yep.
Without addressing what the root cause was that was causing their issues. So if you work on a medical surgical floor, you're going to see people with a lot of issues that come from stress, not eating well, not being able to, being stressed out all the time, and not living a more natural lifestyle. And I know I work full time. It's hard to try to eat well or try to get that exercise in. Like I talked about, I look at my social media at night at 9 o'clock. I need to get those steps in, or parking as far away as I can from the store and walking in to get more steps just to try to incorporate it. But I think a lot of it comes from nutrition and self-care. I think that's one thing, especially women, we don't make it a priority, and we're taking care of other people. And it's like, okay, I don't have time for my own self-care, but if you don't take care of yourself, your body's going to fall apart. You're not going to feel good, and you're not really going to be able to take care of other people.
That is very true. Kevin, do you have a question?
No, you're doing just fine. You said you had a head full of questions. Go ahead.
Yes. So I think my second question, let me remember, is, what was a moment or something maybe that was reoccurring that you had to deal with that was challenging? I guess that would have been one. Kind of seeing how people take care of themselves and knowing that you're just sending them out patched up. I felt like that so many times myself. But what was just one situation of something that you had to face that was challenging but taught you a great lesson?
I think looking at the foods that you're eating, when I was younger, goodies were a big treat. Ice cream, cake, sometimes I would even just have like what I call a goodie dinner, which is horrible. You're just eating a bunch of sugar for dinner. And the added sugar is horrible, horrible for our bodies. And so I think once you learn about sugar, and women are only supposed to have about 24 grams of added sugar a day, which is 4 little sugar packets. That's it, of added sugar. And sometimes if you look on a soda, if you like Orange Crush, or even the diet salad dressings, they might not have fat, but they're loaded with added sugar.
Oh, okay. So I have to ask you, based off sugar, is it true that when something says no sugar added, that there's actually just fake sugar to replace it, which is more toxic for you than the original version of the healthy sugar?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. So, well, I've learned just have the regular ranch dressing.
Yeah.
Just eat the regular ranch dressing. It's going to satisfy you. And just, okay, you have a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of it, or anything else. But, reading labels, because unfortunately, sugar, it does so many horrible things to us. The guys can have, I think, 36 grams. So you can have a few more sugar packets than the girls can.
It's a good thing I like steak.
Well, and I got to ask you, and I want everybody, if you want to, if you're listening to this at home and you get diet dressings, I want you to go to the refrigerator and get the dressing out, because we're going to read the label, you and I. Then I'll wait. Okay, that's enough. But if you read the label, there are more chemicals that are used to put that together than any. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 inches long of all the chemicals. And the sad part is, in our country, and in Europe it's a little bit different, but in our country, all of those ingredients are not tested for cancer, for other diseases that it may cause. So basically, it's like Russian roulette. You don't know what you're ingesting when you do stuff like that. So I agree with you. Natural is the way to go, and natural supplementation. Because if you're like me, I don't eat 2,500 calories a day. I can't. But I can supplement that with Purium and other things that will help me get the nutrition that I need. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. And I support, if you're unable to take in all the nutrients that you need, then to supplement it in some way, whether that is with a green drink that has, all those dark green leafy vegetables that nobody really wants to eat in it, or through other types of supplementation. I agree with that.
Yeah, and it also doesn't, when you do, Rochelle, you should be asking this, but when you do supplementation like that and in a natural way, doesn't it improve your skin tone, your hair, all of the things that women, because they still have those things, spend so much time working on to try and make it right? Because Rochelle's hair has changed, as have her nails and stuff, because they grow faster. Yeah. So is that right, Rochelle?
Yeah, it is. I've always been very highly aware of what is going into my body, thanks to my mom controlling it most times. But what's crazy is when you do start to switch what you're eating and what you're attracted to in food, when you do eat that other thing, it makes you feel horrible. And I'm like, I eat McDonald's compared to, even if I know that a lot of people will say, well, eating at home is the same price as eating out. Okay, well, what exactly are you spending your money on? How is it benefiting you? Because really, if you're going to invest the money on buying food, why not do it in a good way? It still can taste good. I mean, so many different things. I know people can be picky, but I that goes into my next question is what are some of the things that women specifically do need that are so important to just the growth of our life?
I would say one of the things that's underrated is hydration. I call water liquid gold. 81% of our cartilage is made up out of water. So well, Kevin, if you're not getting all your water, it might make it easier to walk.
Does, does, does beer count as water?
No, that's not a form of, it's a form of hydration, but it's not one that is.
Well, you know what this means, don't you? I can no longer watch professional football. You know why? Every commercial is either booze, pizza, or chicken wings.
Yeah, they filter us. They do so well at trying to filter us. That's why they put everything in the grocery store in the middle, right in front of our face. Good things above, so it's out of our view. But yes, hydration is actually has changed me completely. Recognizing that when I was dehydrated, I wasn't. There was short circuits going off all the time, shall I say?
Well, yeah, the National Council on Aging says if you even have a 2% less than the hydration that you should have, it impacts your memory, your mood, and your response time. And if you're adequately hydrating or even taking a little more in, even 1% more than what you need, you're naturally not going to want sugar laden, like added sugar foods, high cholesterol foods, or real fat laden foods. Your body is just naturally going to say, I don't really want it. I'm good. I could eat an orange.
So when you say
breast.
yeah, yeah, and when you say hydration, what exactly does that mean? Because a lot of people think that's just drink 34 cups of this of tap water. Like, what are your views on putting like sea salt in it, or what are specific things that we need to have in the water we're drinking? Because I know that it's not always just the base of water.
Yeah, and there's other ways to get fluids into you. So if your soups will actually, provide some hydration because they're
Beer?
liquid. Beer, but beer has some negative.
I seem to be. Never mind. Just kidding.
But there's different things you could do with water. A lot of people like the sparkling water. One of the things that people forget about until they go to the spa, if you're at the spa, what kind of water do they have? It's usually like cucumber, or they have some kind of fruit in it, and you can't get enough of it, because it tastes so good. You can make that at home. You can make your own cucumber. Now, if you live with people, you want to make a pitcher because everybody's going to want to be drinking that water.
Yeah.
And there's alkaline water that I really like. It seems to take my appetite away. It's more on the alkaline scale than the acid scale. And it's almost like it's smooth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's easy to drink it. It's like, oh, this is
so
really
heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
or some of the other waters, like Dasani, has minerals in it to make it so that it's easier to drink it than just the water that comes out of the faucet, which,
I wanted to ask you about that. Yeah. What about, do you think that filtered water, putting it through like one of those filtered things and to get rid of some of the impurities, does that even work? Is that a marketing thing?
I think you have to look at the water in your location. So sometimes people use those Brita things, but it's not, it gets so clogged with, you have a lot of impurities that you almost need a reverse filtration system, like underneath your sink, that will take it through all the more professional filtering of it. And yeah, I think there are some benefits depending on what's in your water where you live, because sometimes there's lead or other things that you don't necessarily want, that you do want filtered out.
And yeah, my reverse filtering system is throwing up, but that's just me. But But because oh, and by the way, if you are unfamiliar with this, every water district is required to test their water and publish those results. So you can go to their website and they should have a place that'll tell you what the water in your area is made from and what's in it. As an example, is fluoride in it? Now that's become a thing of late. Whether or not fluoride's in the water or not, but just do your research. But hydration is really key, right?
Yeah, it is. It plumps up your skin, so and it keeps your mind clear, gets rid of toxins. A lot of times around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when people are like, "I need a cup of coffee," or "I want a piece of candy," to wake yourself up. Most of the time, people are dehydrated, and all you need is a glass of water.
Okay, how much water should you have on the average? The average normal body weight female, as an example, how many ounces of water, how many glasses of water should she have a day?
Well, the bare minimum, it's a very, very easy formula, but it really is the bare minimum. So you take your weight and you divide it by 3, and that's the minimum number of ounces. So if a woman weighs 120 pounds, you divide that by 3, and that's 40 ounces. 40 ounces is the absolute minimum. Now, if you're living in a warm environment like I do, I'm going to need more because, you're in a warm environment, you're perspiring more. If you're exercising, you're going to want more. If you drink coffee or beer, you're going to want more to replace what the substances or the drinks that are dehydrating you. So you have to replace it. But that's a good way to start, is just to figure out what you need.
So if you're a man of size, which unfortunately in our culture, most people are of size anymore. What's the percentage? Do you know of people that are bigger than what their body weight percentages should be according to the doctors?
I would say it's at least 30 to 40% of the adult population
Is obese.
Yeah, at some level. I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's morbidly obese, and then there's just what they call obese, which is a little bit higher BMI.
So I thought I'd do the math for some of the guys who may not be thinking about this. If you weigh 240 pounds, you need 80 ounces of water a day.
Mm-hmm.
16, 32. That's about 5 quarts.
I'd be sitting there drinking. I wouldn't even need anything else in my stomach all day long, just the water.
Yeah, and plus you'd have to be very close to the nearest bathroom.
Yes, I already am. And it's time to take our break, Kevin, but when we come back, I do have another question.
Okay.
I can always tell when I'm really involved in the conversation because I blow right past the brakes. So, Mary-Beth Newell, thank you so much, and we're going to be right back with more with her. Why don't we talk about things that I don't particularly care about? Let's talk about skincare when we come back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Rochelle is dancing over there. It's nice. Mary-Beth, I got to tell you, we did a show, and I played the opening a little bit late, and she was over there dancing. And now we have that on YouTube, and she wants us to take it down, but we ain't gonna. So I wanted to ask you, because I have always had baby soft skin, and stuff. And I guess it's hydrated. I don't know, but a lot of women have problems with that of getting their skin to be the way that they want it to be, and stuff. So, give us some tips. Or maybe a woman should ask this question instead. Brashel asked his question.
Yes, to give us some tips on skincare just in general and how to understand it. I learned recently that our skin is an organ, so maybe branch off into that a little bit too.
It's the largest organ of your body.
It is. It is. And well, one of the things I think that people don't realize you should do is you should still exercise your face. Just like if you don't exercise your upper arms, they're going to get kind of flabby and sag. It's the same thing with your face. So there are facial exercises that you can do. I think the simplest one, and a lot of times I have to think, what did we do when we were little kids? We have to do a lot of things we did as little kids, But one of the things when you were little, learning your vowels, saying A-E-I-O-U. Well, if you exaggerate that, like A-E-I-O-U, and you do that, you're exercising the muscles in your face to keep them nice and toned. And you can do that in the car. You can do it in the shower. You can do it while you're making dinner. You don't even have to say it. You can just, silently say the vowels if you want. So JAMA Dermatology, the medical publication, took middle-aged women, and now they just didn't do the vowels. They had like 32 different exercises they wanted them to do, and they did it for 30 minutes a day for several weeks, but they looked 3 years younger. So it took 3 years off their face. So that's something that's easy. You can do anytime to sort of exercise your face. The other thing that I think is very beneficial is using some type of facial brush, to get rid of the dead skin, stimulate the collagen. That's what you want to do, is be stimulating the collagen. What Botox does is sort of it paralyzes your face. And the injectables will plump it up. But if you're hydrating, if you do the exercises, I've been doing facial acupuncture for about 10 years or so. And I like it as an alternative to Botox because they're trying to stabilize your energy on the inside of your body as well as the outside. So I look like a pincushion when she sticks all the needles in, but sometimes she'll stick it in my tummy or my foot or other places that she thinks, I guess I need to be balanced. And then you lay there and you're supposed to try to relax to let it work. But it's called Zen, is facial rejuvenation or facial acupuncture. But the whole idea is that you're beautiful on the inside and the outside. So it balances your energy.
I kind of like that idea. And thinking about so much of skin, is it right or wrong necessarily, or maybe why? Does it seem like hair, nails, and skin is always some sort of combo pack?
Well, yeah, as far as the collagen and the biotin, it helps all of it grow, and be stronger. Yes. So yeah, there are supplements and vitamins, and if you're not getting enough in your diet, you can certainly supplement.
Very good.
Now, what about this thing about going to bed at night with this mask of something on your face, which makes you really undesirable to your mate at that particular time?
Well, you can. Now you can also do those face masks and stuff during the day. Another thing that I like to do, and it doesn't take the whole night, so you'd look a little bit better if you sleep with someone, is red light therapy. So you can either get something like a whole face mask, but you kind of look like Freddy Krueger with it. You put put it on. Or you can get panels.
Why?
And
How attractive.
you put the
Yeah.
panels
What
on.
did you say, honey?
Yeah.
Never mind, go away.
So, but yeah, and that takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And you don't have to do it every day. What I do is I set my alarm clock 15 minutes earlier, and I have my panels next to my bed. So I get them and I put them on when I want to use them.
Now, you are an advocate for a natural way of living, natural way of being, natural way of eating, and taking care of yourself. I wanted to ask you, and I don't know whether this is in the book or not, but it is something that I use on a regular basis, and I advocate it thoroughly. What do you know about infrared saunas, and whether or not they're good for you, or they better for you than normal saunas? Do you know anything about them?
Well, I think the infrared is probably using that red light therapy. And the red light therapy is shown to help improve your immune system. It helps to stimulate collagen. If you have a wound, it helps with healing a wound and minimizing the scar tissue. So, there are definitely benefits to it. Whether you're in an entire, thing that you're covered with red light, or if you're just using the panels, you do have to make sure that you have enough of the nanometers, which is, the light coming out. They measure it because it needs to be at least 630. If it's less than that, then it's just like red light on you that's not doing anything. You're just glowing. It's not actually doing any of the therapy to you.
Well, now, and I don't know, I may need medication, but I haven't had a cold in 10 years. And I use it whenever time I felt like I was getting a cold, I would go into the sauna and stay there. And it was like I was giving myself a fever, and it was taking down the bacteria or whatever it was. And so I haven't been sick. Well, I do 8 shows a week. I haven't taken a day off to do a show in years. So, but is that a thing too?
Oh, the saunas, yes, I would say yes, because what you're doing is you're flushing toxins out of your body. So it is positive to go and sit in a sauna.
It's also can be very meditative.
Mm.
If you choose to make it so, you can make it so that you are enjoying the time and deep mindfulness, which eliminates stress and stuff,
Mhm.
because stress is a horrible killer in our society.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I have to touch on that. I was just going to say, with the medical part of everything that you've learned through your book and being a nurse and watching other people get better or get worse. How do I frame this question? Really, I'm trying to have us understand how much it is so focused on the mindset first,
Oh, yeah.
because your mind is what will control your body ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh, so
correct.
many things. Yeah, I have a whole section called self-care, but the self-care really is more of a mindset. And it's even something that I still have to work at myself. I don't think it's easy. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, you want to put your horn on or get right up behind them. And or you have a crabby salesperson, or someone that you're working with, and a lot of times we just think, well, they're being so rude, I'm going to be crabby back. But sometimes I literally have to take some deep breaths, especially if it's on the road and you really don't want that person cutting you off. But I try to think differently to literally reduce the cortisol levels and inflammation in your own body. I think back to when I was a single mom with little kids that were in daycare, and I was on a budget. And if you did not get there at 5 o'clock every 5 minutes, they charged you more. And I had 2 kids. So sometimes I might have been cutting someone off to try to get to daycare to get the kids before it crossed 5 o'clock. Or I live in Florida. And where I live, there's a lot of tourists. Probably half the year is tourists. And so they might think, oh my goodness, that's where I'm supposed to go. and they're not even looking, to know that they just cut you off in traffic. So I try to take a deep breath, or if someone's, instead of saying that's a jerk, I think, I hope that person gets to where they're going safely, because you don't know. Maybe someone, and I live close to a hospital. So if someone's going to the hospital, your mind isn't where it's supposed to be if someone's in the hospital. You're just trying to get there. Or with the crabby salespeople, you don't know what happened to them. They could have had a fight with someone. There could be something horrible going on in their lives and they had to go to work and they're in this mood. And I think you can literally change somebody's life if you take a different frame of reference and say something like, it seems like you're having a bad day. I hope it gets better. I mean, they may not have anybody who's being kind to them in their life. Yeah. And so I do think that mindset of trying to be more kind and compassionate to people. And I'm an optimist. I see the glass is half full. Not everybody does. But I think if you could also change your thinking in that regard too, to try to, even if someone is starting out saying, I want to change, I don't want to be as negative as I am, you can enlist your friends or family if you say something and they can say, oops, how can we say this differently? Even if you say things could be worse, to me, that's kind of positive.
Yeah. I agree.
Start.
Well, and it just happened yesterday. I was at a 4-way stop, and you know how you're supposed to go and alternate through a 4-way stop? Well, I had a guy that he went through the light, and the guy that was behind him just followed him directly through, and that's not the rules, damn it. You're not supposed to do that. So I honked my horn at him, and bless his heart, he gave me number one. And I, and so he said I was number one. Maybe he wasn't, but it was his middle finger. Maybe that has some significance. Anyway, we need to take a break, and we will be right back with more. We're talking with Mary-Beth Newell, and she's got the book, Anti-Aging and Secrets of Healthy Living to Stop the Clock. Go to our website, marybethnewell.com. You can even buy the book from there, and I would recommend that you do that. We will be right back after this 30-second message. Shut up, be quiet. It's just 30 seconds.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
And welcome back to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald and Rochelle dancing over there, and Mary-Beth Newell. And I have to apologize to the audience because I realize that when I said just be quiet, it'll be just 30 seconds. That wasn't very spiritual of me. And I should have said, oh, bless you all and stay with us, please. But I didn't. So, Rochelle, you're up.
Okay. Let me think. Really, I'm trying to let it come to me. I had like 3 things, but as you talked, you answered all the questions. So I just had to sit here and listen. I absolutely love listening to all your little tips. I think now my question for you now is, in your life is, with everything you've learned and the book you've been able to present and speaking you've been able to do, is there another journey that you are seeking to go forward in to keep yourself young and help people around you?
Well, I like sharing knowledge. And so I am in the process of writing another book that's going to be geared more towards older single women and how to enjoy their life. So it'll have a couple different topics in it. The book I have now is really geared for anybody at any age. In fact, some of the readers are like, I wish I would have known this when I was 30. I could start it when I'm 50, but if I was 30, it would work a lot better. But I'm always learning. I really took up strength training several years ago because you're supposed to do strength training. But instead of going to the gym, I do it with weights in my own house. And I'm a runner. I even did an ultra marathon about 9 years ago. And so, but I sort of got away from the running, but my granddaughter is in a running club. So she's like, Granby, can you go running with me? So I hadn't done it for a couple of years. And I will tell you, I could not believe my stamina and recovery time, and I was faster. And I thought, what did I do? The only thing I did was the strength training. So it's amazing. And then, when you get a little bit older, they're testing your bones to make sure if you have any osteoporosis. And since I did the strength training, my bones have actually gotten stronger too. They say I have the bones of a 25-year-old.
That's amazing. I think I could take that any day. I am only 26, and now I'm realizing there's some things you're going to have to start working on, some things you can do. And I love that your book is for all ages. And I wanted to touch on, you said that the book took you 15 years. Was that just all one big learning curve to finally get it to where you wanted it to be?
Well, it took me about 18 months to actually write it and get it to the point that it was published. But people told me for 15 years.
Okay.
I kind of had the idea, but then after finally, if someone tells you something enough times, you finally do it.
Was there a part of the book that was your favorite to write?
Oh, excuse me?
Was there a part of your book that was your favorite to write?
No, I wouldn't say. I liked all of it. It was, and I'll tell you, as a writer, it's if it comes to you, you sit down and you write. Because I work, sometimes I write at night or on the weekends, and sometimes I try to force it. And that was one section that I had to rewrite like 5 times. I'm like, I wish I didn't even write it because I wrote it when I wasn't in, like, things weren't flowing. And I never really got that one particular topic where I wanted it to be. It wasn't as perfect as if I just would have let it go. And then when it came to me to write it out then.
Mary-Beth, I want to ask you, because a lot of times, and I don't hear very many people talk about it, but I'm a little bit older now. And so a lot of the women that I know are a little bit older now. And I keep hearing the term, oh, I'm going through menopause and this is awful. Do you have any tips? Is there anything in your book that can help women get through? I understand being a guy, I'll never have to deal with that per se, but is there something in your book that can help them get through that period of time?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is sleep, making sure you're getting your sleep, enough sleep. And unfortunately, the National Institutes of Health say adults should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Now, only 41% of Americans get that. But if you're a woman and you have PMS, or you're menstruating, or you're postpartum, or you're anywhere on that menopause spectrum, peri, going through it, or post, those women, their sleep quality is reduced by 75%. So really focusing on what you can do to get sleep and good quality sleep. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people like to have, especially ladies, like to have a glass or 2 of wine at night to relax. It's like their little treat before they go to bed, and it helps you relax, and it helps you initially fall asleep, but it reduces your sleep quality. Even one little 5-ounce glass of wine is going to reduce your sleep quality by 24%. So if you're a woman who has PMS and you have your glass of wine, you're not getting any sleep at all. Your sleep quality is horrible, horrible. So really trying to do things to enhance your sleep quality. So trying to avoid alcohol. One switch that people can make is if you have tart cherry juice. Now, you don't want it with that added sugar. Sugar's bad. But if you take 3 or 4 ounces of tart cherry juice and maybe mix it with sparkling water, some sparkling water, and put some lemon or lime in it, and you can put it in a wine glass if you want, or a little cocktail glass, and you can have your own cocktail. But the tart cherry juice has melatonin and tryptophan in it naturally. That is going to help you to fall asleep without the negative effects of the alcohol.
So I guess adding a couple of shots of vodka to it wouldn't work.
Now, everyone can have a party
Opposite.
now and then, but that's not doing every night.
I think people are going to get a negative impression about me as far as alcohol intake during the show. But
Well, I can say I didn't even sing a single beer in your house, so I'm confused.
oh, you looked, did you?
I did. I had to be a little snoopy. Got to see what I'm getting myself into.
I know. Well, Mary-Beth, I am so safe that she's 26, a very pretty girl, and she came to my house alone and wasn't worried in the least because, well, for 2 reasons. Not only would I never do anything, but she could kick the shit out of me if she wanted, kick the heck out of me if she wanted to. So, in any event, but Mary-Beth, thank you so much for being here. We really have enjoyed our conversation with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's been so good. There's so
And
many things I'm thinking.
go ahead, Rochelle.
No, just there's so much learning, so much that I am thinking now that it's like, okay, you go from you hit 25 and everything starts to kind of change. You go to 26, then you realize you're going to be 30, and then you do the whole 35. And I'm really just trying to absorb everything that I've learned from you. And I mean, you're absolutely beautiful. And I don't even want to try to guess your age because you look extremely young. But as long as I can keep that going, which I used to not take as a compliment, I think I can help other people also do that. But water, I need more water, Mary, I will tell you.
And I have to say this too, because remember, she has a granddaughter who was running and asked her to go running with her. So she's been around a little bit, but she's learned a lot and stuff. But I want to give you the opportunity now. So we've got about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
I want to give you the opportunity to tell our audience anything that you would like them to know that you feel valuable that they should know.
Well, one, if you're interested in more tips, there's my book, though you can get on the website or Amazon or Barnes & Noble. But I also have a complimentary little mini ebook called Easy Ways to Delay Aging and Live Better. So it's available on my website. And like I said, it's complimentary if people want some extra ways without going through and purchasing something. Of course, once you look at it, you're probably going to want the book.
Of course. Yes, indeed. And again, your website is Mary-Beth Newell, NEWELL.com. And go there and find it. You are delightful. It's been a great conversation. We really have enjoyed it. And Rochelle, any last words?
Nope. Just thank you so much for your time. I'm going to take a lot of what you even said about sleep. I struggle with my sleep, so I'm going to work on that. And spreading even the message of things I've learned from you with my own friends, my own family, because really want to keep us healthy. We got to build each other up. So thank you for your time.
Mary-Beth, just real quick, one of us, and it's not me, has trouble with sleep and bad dreams. Is there anything that you can tell her that will help her in her dream process?
You might want to have a little journal and just write down if you wake up what your dreams are about. And I think maybe having a sleep ritual where you're going to relax before you go to sleep, whether that's pillow spray or avoiding any of your electronics for an hour or two, just making it a positive ritual that you might not have the icky dreams. You'll just have fun dreams.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll definitely try to stay in the little ritual that I've come up with, but the pillow spray might be something that can keep me a little grounded while I sleep. So
Mhm.
I will take note to that and I will try it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary-Beth Newell, and her book, Anti-Aging and Secrets of the Living.
The living.
Secrets of the Living Dead. Oh, no, wait. Anti-Aging and Secrets of Healthy Living to Stop the Clock. Thank you for being here, my dear. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin@kmmedia.pro.